Hey guys, thank you so much for stopping by. Today's video is going to be a haul update. A few weeks ago, I did a Sephora and Ulta haul, and I did pick up some new products. A lot of the products were repurchases, so I did not include them in today's video because I'm sure I've talked about them on my channel a million times. Today's video is going to be all about the new products that I tried. So I think I have like 8 new products. I've tested all of them, and there are products that I liked, things that I didn't like, so I wanted to share them with you guys in today's video and kind of give you some reviews on the products that I picked up in that haul video. Okay, so I did purchase one holiday set this year because I just had a feeling that it would sell out. I don't know if it is sold out. I will link everything in the description box below for you guys, but this was like the one holiday set that I knew that I wanted. If I could only purchase one, this is the one that I wanted, and I'm so happy with my purchase. I love these products so much. So Becca released a mini set with some of their shimmering skin perfectors, like the pressed highlighters, and they're so beautiful. These are actually permanent shades in the collection. I will include the close-ups that I did in my original haul video for you guys because I got rid of a lot of the packaging, but that way I can show you what it looks like when you get it. So I really like this set because essentially for the price of one full-sized highlighter, you can get 4 mini highlighters and try out a bunch of shades. And if you're anything like me, you're probably not going to hit pan on even these mini highlighters. So it's more ideal to have more shades instead of just one larger pan of the same shade, unless it's a shade that you wear all the time. But these colors are beautiful. The formula is great. I definitely recommend it. So I actually did get a full-sized Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector pressed highlighter. I actually purchased this before I got the mini set. Otherwise, I probably would have skipped over this, but I did get this one before the mini set was available. So I picked the shade Moonstone, which is really beautiful, but weirdly enough, I don't like this on my skin tone as much as I thought I would. It kind of looks like it would be the perfect highlight for my skin tone, but I almost think it's a little bit too light, and I've never really had that issue with a highlighter. The foundation that I'm wearing right now is slightly too dark for my skin tone, so I think this might be a better option for me once winter rolls around and I really go back to like my lightest foundation shades. But even the formula feels a little bit different than the regular Becca highlighter formula. It doesn't feel as smooth or creamy. It doesn't look as beautiful or soft on the skin, and I don't know what it is about this particular highlighter. I just don't like it as much as any of the other Becca highlighters that I have in my collection. I think it's just the color combined with the formula. I don't know. Do you guys have the shade Moonstone? I feel like my formula is a little bit off. At first, I wasn't sure if I just had to kind of like work through that initial layer, but even still, it's just more on the subtle side. So if you want more of like a subtle highlighter, this one actually might be a great option for you. Or if you have a very fair skin tone, I think this would look really beautiful on you. So I did get a deluxe size sample of the Fenty Pro Filter Instant Retouch Primer, and I was excited about this. It was available as a 100-point perk, and typically I'm not the biggest fan of mattifying face primers, but I really like this one, and that surprised me a lot. Usually mattifying face primers make your skin look and feel so dry, and foundation just doesn't look that great on top, at least in my personal experience, but this one's a little bit different. It's a very soft touch primer, so as you rub it into your skin, it doesn't necessarily feel like it's overly mattifying. It also doesn't have like a lotion or hydrating texture. It's almost like a soft matte finish, and it just applies to the skin really beautifully. And then your foundation goes on top really beautifully, and your skin will stay matte throughout the day, which is kind of crazy because, again, like I said, I'm not really typically into mattifying primers, but because of that, I haven't tried a lot recently, and I was so surprised the first time I used this because I applied my makeup, and at the end of the day when I came home, usually my face is pretty oily, and it looked perfectly matte. And because my skin looked matte, my foundation looked really good. Like all of my makeup just wore better throughout the day. So I really am a big fan of it. I don't know if it's going to replace my hydrating primers because I just love how those make my skin feel, and my foundation goes on top really beautifully. But I have a feeling once spring and summer roll around again next year, I know we just finished up summer, but I think this will probably be an essential for me. I think I'm actually going to return this product. I don't typically return products because I can usually find a way to make them work for me, but I just don't like this one. It is the Anastasia Brow Definer Triangular Brow Pencil. I got the shade Dark Brown, and currently, I didn't use it today, but usually I use the Anastasia Brow Wiz in dark brown. I know a lot of companies make brow pencils in this shape, and a lot of people love them, but I kind of struggle with it. I'm not that great at doing my brows, so I think for me, I just need more of a precise brow pencil to get really accurate application, because this gets out of hand very quickly for me. I was like playing around with it last night because I was like, I'm sure I can make it work for me, and my brows just got so large and out of hand so quickly. I do think this would work well for you if you already have very thick, defined brows, because I do think it's going to work well to just fill them in where you need them to be filled in. But if you have very thin brows or you need something very precise, I definitely don't recommend going with this one. The reason I grabbed it is because it was on sale during Ulta's 21 Days of Beauty, and I thought maybe I'd be able to make it work for me. And I also thought maybe it would be a little bit more efficient when doing my brows, because it does take a while to fill in my brows with the Brow Wiz, and I go through it very quickly. I do think I'm going to return it just so I can save my money. I did get it on sale, but I'd rather take that money and put it toward the Anastasia Brow Wiz because I do love that so much. So I tried the Catrice Makeup Transformer Drops. This one is the lightening version. They also have a darkening version. And basically you can mix it into your foundation to make it a little bit lighter or a little bit darker. For me, I love wearing the Catrice HD Liquid Foundation. I wear the lightest shade, but it's still a little bit too dark for me. So when I mix this one in, I have to use like quite a bit to get my perfect shade. And the issue is this kind of changes the texture of that foundation. Depending on what type of foundation you use, this is going to switch up the texture. So when I mix it in with that foundation, the texture is just different. It doesn't blend on the skin as well. It's not as lightweight. It doesn't look the same. And it's almost like mixing two foundations together. There are very few times when I actually have to go in with like just a tiny, tiny small amount, because if that's the case, I kind of feel like I would just wear the foundation and you wouldn't really notice. But to significantly lighten any foundation, I have to go in with a good amount of this. And this retails for $7.99 and you get 0.5 fluid ounces. So honestly, I don't see this lasting a very long time in my collection, especially if I'm using it regularly. I would almost rather just go out and purchase the lighter shade of the foundation that I'm trying to lighten so I can have that formula, that texture. You know, I like that foundation because of how it applies, and when I mix this in, it switches it up. So I'd rather just go out and purchase the lighter shade. That's not always a possibility though. So I think this product does come in handy when that's not a possibility. It's just not the ideal solution for me. I'd rather just get a foundation that matches me perfectly. But again, like I said, that's not always the case. So when it's not a possibility, this does come in handy. So I did purchase a few lip products during Ulta's 21 Days of Beauty sale. I got a couple from Dose of Colors. I've heard so many good things about Dose of Colors lip products, so I was excited to try them out. So I did get two lip glosses. I'm wearing the shade Can You Not today over one of the ColourPop lipsticks in my collection, and then I also have the shade On Repeat. This formula is beautiful. They're just so luxurious feeling on the lips. They're not sticky, they're very glossy. They have a good amount of pigmentation to them, so I do think you can wear them on their own. I really like wearing the shade On Repeat as like an everyday gloss over bare lips, but you can also put them on top of a lipstick as well. So I have the shade, like I said, Can You Not on right now over a nude lipstick, and I just think it looks so pretty. They last on the lips fairly well, but because they're not sticky, they're not going to last all day long. Usually when a lip gloss is slightly more sticky or tacky, it lasts a little bit longer, but I love how these feel. They feel beautiful, they look beautiful. They kind of remind me of the NYX Butter Glosses, but they're a little bit thicker and they have slightly more pigment to them. So I do enjoy them. I got them on sale for like $9, which I think is a steal. So if they ever go back on sale during like Ulta's 21 Days of Beauty, I'm definitely going to get additional shades. So we'll see. I have a feeling these two shades are going to be staples in my collection. So if I find myself using them all the time, I might splurge and grab a few other colors, but I just love them. I think everything from like the packaging to the color to the formula is just perfect, and I really, really am a big fan of these for sure. So thank you guys for recommending those to me. I get so many recommendations to try out their lip products, and I'm so glad that I finally did. I also tried their liquid lipsticks. So I got two shades. I got Sand, which is a really pretty, very light nude, and then also Desert Suede, which is more of like a cool toned brown. And I got so many compliments when I wore Sand in a recent video, and I wasn't sure how it looked on me, but you guys left me such nice compliments, so I definitely think I'm going to wear it more. And then Desert Suede is just like the perfect shade for fall. I will say that these are pretty drying on the lips. All liquid lipsticks are drying on my lips, and they just really enhance like the cracks in my lips and the fine lines, and these definitely aren't any different. They stayed in place really well. They did not move throughout the day, which I appreciate for sure. If I'm going to wear a liquid lipstick, I want it to stay in place. but they almost looked extra drying compared to some of the other liquid lipsticks in my collection. So if you have very dry lips, I don't know if this is going to be the ideal formula for you. I think the colors are so pretty that I can kind of deal with it or wear like a lip balm underneath or on top, because I do love how they look on the lips. They kind of have like a nice moussey texture, so they go on really well, and the colors are beautiful. So again, I'm not sure if I would spend $17 on additional shades because I have enough liquid lipsticks in my collection, so if I can get them for under $10, I'm willing to try them. But if I went into like an Ulta and I found another shade that I had to have, I would purchase it because I like the staying power and I really like these two shades. They're different than other liquid lipsticks that I have in my collection. So I do love these lip products. I think they feel like high-end lip products. They're definitely worth more than the $10. I'm just a little bit cheap when it comes to buying high-end lip products. Okay, so I am going to share my thoughts on the Makeup Revolution, the Emily Edit, the Wants eyeshadow palette, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit hesitant just because I know that some people have gotten backlash for sharing their opinions on the palette, but to be honest with you guys, I really tested out this palette. I love Emily. I've mentioned that in multiple videos where I talked about this palette when I picked it up, when I talked about it in a purchase or pass video. I think she's such a respectable YouTuber. She's honest, she's hardworking, she's been in the game for a long time, and I really do love her. I watch her channel and I respect her so much, but I have thoroughly tested out this palette. I've tried it so many ways, and there are definitely pros and cons. Now, I will say right off the bat that I'm the type of person that likes super pigmented eyeshadows. I like one swipe pigmentation, but I also like them to blend out really beautifully. So I like ColourPop, I like Juvia's Place. Those are two of my favorite brands. I haven't tried a ton of Makeup Revolution eyeshadows in the past. I've tried a couple and I've had them in my collection and they've been good, but ultimately I've decluttered them because I've had other formulas that I like better. But again, it's been a while, so I wasn't completely sure what to expect when I tried this palette. First of all, I have such a hard time opening it. It's such a large palette, and in general, I'm not the biggest fan of like super large palettes. I've mentioned this on my channel in the past before. So first of all, like the mirror's kind of popping out. It just feels a little bit cheap. I mean, it is a $20 palette, so I'm not expecting like $50 or $60 quality in terms of the packaging. I do appreciate that there is such a large mirror. I think that is a really nice touch, and I think the palette itself is really pretty, and you do get a ton of product for the price. The colors in this palette are beautiful. I fell in love with the colors instantly as soon as I saw it, and I think it's really gorgeous, and it's definitely different than a lot of other palettes that I've seen. I know not everybody is the biggest fan of overly pigmented shadows. I totally get that, and I touch on that in my review videos, and if that's you, then this actually might be a great option for you. For me personally, I definitely prefer something that's a lot more pigmented, and I found that I really had to build up these shadows to get good pigmentation, but that's just not something that I personally love to do. I don't really wear a lot of what I think most people would consider super wearable eyeshadow looks for day to day. Like I would wear this to go to the grocery store, and I usually, if I'm going to sit down and take the time to do my eyeshadow, I usually go for a pretty pigmented look rather than something on the more subtle side. The formula is definitely inconsistent. So there were shadows that performed really well, shadows that did not perform well. So in general, the matte shadows were just okay. They weren't super blendable, they weren't super pigmented. I had to really work to build up a lot of the darker shades if I wanted a darker outer corner or a dark crease color, and a lot of them were very patchy. There were some that performed well, like these three shades that I use as like transition colors worked really well on the eyes, so I mainly went in with those to like kick off my eye look. But a lot of the darker shades in this side of the palette just did not work very well, and I had to continuously build up the color, and even in the end, I did not get like the pigmentation that I was looking for. As for the satin and metallic shadows, they're just very subtle, and again, I am such a fan of like super pigmented metallics like Juvia's Place, so for me, this isn't like a formula that I would really wear. And I totally get it. A lot of people do not wear like super bright purple eyeshadow for like day-to-day wear. And if that is you, if you like something more subtle, then you might enjoy this palette. I've seen a lot of people say they do like it because it's an easily buildable palette. And even if you go in with a lot of shadow, it's fairly easy to blend it out. It doesn't look overly pigmented. It doesn't look too harsh. So I think it is good in that aspect, but at the same time, it's a very inconsistent palette. And if I was reviewing any other palette and it was was so inconsistent, that would definitely be a big con for me. If all of the metallic and shimmer shadows performed the same and all of the matte shadows performed the same, with maybe like one or two that were different, then I could probably overlook it. But I feel like as a whole, it's just a very, very inconsistent palette. And I asked you guys on Instagram because I didn't really want to ask on YouTube. I asked you on Instagram where you could DM me, and I got hundreds of DMs saying that it was super inconsistent. I got some that said you guys love it, it's your absolute favorite, and I think that's awesome. But I think the majority of you, at least that I chat with on Instagram, experience something similar. All of that to say, it is a $20 eyeshadow palette and you're getting so many colors, you're getting so much product. I think she did such a good job with the colors in this palette. You can create so many beautiful eye looks, whether you're going for something like berry toned or purple or neutral or warm. I think she did such a great job with the color selection, and I love that you can get so many different cohesive looks with one palette. But at the same time, $20 is still $20, and for me personally, I'd rather take that $20 and spend it on like a ColourPop palette or put it toward a more pigmented palette that I would use more often. So those are just my thoughts on it. I hope that was helpful. But anyways, let me know what you guys think about that palette or any of the products that I mentioned in today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.